Greetings, everyone. I am Nokhanyo Lulu Ndlovu, a counseling psychologist and an imago therapist. As some of us are aware, May is Mental Health Awareness Month for families. In this short video, I am going to talk about depression, what it is, what are its signs and symptoms. And in the one that will follow after this one, we will talk about what are some of the factors that play a role in depression, as well as recommendations regarding its treatment. Now, before I start, I want to quote a favorite verse of mine. It's found from the book of 3 John, verse 2. Dear friend, I pray that you may enjoy good health and that all may go well with you, even as your soul is getting along well. Now, this is and always has been God's ideal for men. You know, He made all things beautiful right from the beginning. And you'll remember that after He had created Adam and Eve, He looked back and said, "It is very good." But with sin entered sickness and ultimately death. But before we had sicknesses like arthritis or headache or cancers, we actually had sadness and fear and guilt and shame and anxiety. And these are all mental health conditions. And as a result, we have experienced depression, anxiety, PTSD, schizophrenia, bipolar, etc. Now, some, if not most, of our physical health challenges, all of these things, they are mainly due to our compromised emotional and mental status. Ellen White has this to say on this matter. The relation that exists between the mind and the body is very intimate. When one is affected, the other sympathizes. The mind sympathizes, or the condition of the mind affects the heart to a far greater degree than many realize. Many of the diseases from which men suffer are the result of mental depression. Grief, anxiety, discontent, remorse, guilt, distrust all tend to break down the life forces and to invite decay and death, unquote. And this is found from the book Ministry of Healing, page 241. In fact, in one of her other statements, she actually says we can attribute 9/10 of all diseases to a compromised mental condition. So what is depression? This word is a word that is generally used to describe a number of feelings, including sadness, frustration, disappointment, and sometimes lethargy. But when we speak about clinical depression, this is a mood disturbance. It is a disturbance in one's mood that lasts for at least 2 weeks or even longer. And it can either be depressed mood or diminished interest or pleasure in activities that were previously enjoyed, or it can be both. Now, here are some of the key facts about depression. Depression is an illness, and as such, it interferes with one's daily and one's daily life and normal functioning. Like any illness, it needs to be treated, and it is fortunately a treatable disease. And many people who actually suffer from depression, they recover fully, and they are able to live normal and fully functional lives. Now, depression is not a sign of a person's weakness. It's not a character flaw. It's not also a condition that is actually attributable to one's lack of faith. One can't just snap out of clinical depression. And most people who experience depression actually need treatment in order to get better. Depression also is a mental disorder that is very, very common. And globally, according to the World Health Organization, it affects more than 350 people, more than 350 million people. And according to South African Depression and Anxiety Group, more than 4.5 South Africans suffer from depression. And this is the statistics from 2020. Now, the other fact that is important is that, therefore, depression is the leading cause of disability worldwide and the contributing factor to the overall global burden of disease. And here's another one that is quite interesting. Women are 2 times more likely than men to suffer from depression. And it's not necessarily because men suffer less. It does not imply that men suffer less, but it could be because women are usually more emotionally clued up. They are more capable of disclosing, and they're also more likely to seek help and therefore get a diagnosis. And also, again, depression in men can cause them to engage in unhealthy coping mechanisms such as substance abuse. So it may appear that one is suffering from substance abuse disorder, whereas you're going to discover that beneath that is actually depression. And men will also, instead of them feeling sad or having low mood, may display maybe anger and may become aggressive or violent. Now, suicide also is the third leading cause of death between the 15 to 29. And now, why is this important? It is because in more than 50% of people, you're going to find that there was depression that was indicated. So what are some of the symptoms of depression? Now, depression affects the way one thinks, the way one feels, the way one behaves, and also it will also be displayed in physical symptoms. Now, it is diagnosed if one has got some of the following. And what is important is that you must have at least 5 of these symptoms, and it must be over a period of 2 weeks or longer. Number 1, there must be a depressed mood most of the day, nearly every day, as indicated maybe by the subjective report. Maybe the person saying, I'm feeling low mood, I'm feeling sad, I'm feeling down in the dumps, I feel empty. Or it may be maybe observations that are made by others. They will observe that you are very emotional, you cry a lot, you appear sad. Secondly, there is a markedly diminished interest or pleasure in all or almost all the activities that the person previously enjoyed. You're going to find that someone who loved sports, someone who was always involved in hobbies, you're going to find that they don't want to do any of those things. They just lose interest in such things. And then there's social withdrawal, where you find that someone does not want to mingle, does not want to be with people. There might also be a significant weight loss, even when someone is not dieting, or there may be weight gain. When there's a change and without you being intentional about losing or gaining weight, it could be attributed maybe to depression, provided there are other symptoms as well. Some people will present with insomnia and inability to sleep. There may be instability in sleep patterns, or there may be hypersomnia, where one wants to sleep all the time. Sometimes you're going to find that more days than not, there are problems with sitting still. Someone is restless, is fidgeting, pacing, picking up at one's clothes or biting one's nails. And this is what we call psychomotor agitation. Or you're going to find that someone has got just the opposite. There's a slowness in one's movements. They are talking very quietly with slow speech. And this is what we call psychomotor retardation. The person may present with fatigue or tiredness. They wake up feeling tired, they are drained, there's loss of energy nearly every day. And you're going to find that even small tasks like taking care of yourself or cooking a meal or cleaning, which are activities that you have been able to do without any problem, you're going to find that right now they become such a burden. There may also be feelings of worthlessness or excessive or inappropriate guilt nearly every day. The person may ruminate over minor failings or failures. Even small mistakes are magnified and they are blown out of proportion. There is also sometimes a diminished ability to think or concentrate, or there may be indecisiveness. You are going to find that the person is struggling to focus or to make decisions, and the person may appear also easily distracted, or they may complain of memory difficulties. Sometimes there is also a pervasive sense of hopelessness and helplessness. There may also be recurrent thoughts of death, and not just fear of dying, but recurrent suicidal ideas, even though there may be no specific plan, or there may be a suicide attempt, or maybe the person may just have those feelings like, life is not worth living. I just don't want to wake up. I wish this could come to an end. I don't know what I'm living for. I have no reason to live. And you're going to find that even if the person is not thinking of killing themselves, but their thoughts are around or are centered around the idea of just dying. Now, it is important to note once again that children may experience depression differently. Your child may not be able to tell you or articulate that I'm feeling sad, but you may notice that the child seems irritable, frustrated, they are restless, they are listless, they appear discouraged or tired. The child may cry a lot or become clingy, and the child may also cut themselves off from family and friends, and they may refuse to even go and play when previously they would have enjoyed going out with friends to play. Now, you're going to find that with these symptoms, one becomes caught in what we call the vicious cycle of depression. Now, remember we said these symptoms are going to bring about drastic changes in the person's life, and they're going to change or affect their daily routine and their behavior. Now, often these changes, they're going to deprive someone of actually engaging in activities that they usually enjoyed. And because you are depriving yourself of those or participation in those activities, you're going to find that you're being drawn even deeper and deeper into this depressive mode. For an example, you're going to find that because you lack motivation and because you don't have energy, then now you are cutting back on activities, you are neglecting daily tasks and responsibilities, you're leaving decision making to others. Now what happens is that now you begin to feel now more guilty, and you begin to feel more as a failure. And as can see now, you can't then get yourself out of the mode because because you are sick, you have got these feelings of guilt. And now because you lack motivation and energy, then you stop engaging in activities. Maybe you don't even want to go to work. You don't want to wake up. But now later you are ruminating over that. You are feeling like a failure now. Now you are attacking yourself now. You begin to attack, you begin to criticize yourself. Or you're going to find that because you are less and less active, you don't go out anymore. You avoid hanging out with friends. And now you stop engaging in favorite activities. Now when this happens now, you are depriving yourself of benefits of socially engaging, receiving support, or engaging in an activity that would have uplifted your mood and impacted you positively. This is why we say you have now become locked in the vicious cycle of depression. But do not fear, there is help for you. Like I said, God wants you to prosper and be in good health. And like I said again, there is healing, there is restoration, and depression can be treated. We are going to talk about this in our next video clip. Goodbye.